budget friends, it's Steph with Stefsonabudget. Welcome back for another video. Today I thought we would set up our September budget calendar together because I need to budget for my August 22nd payday, which is going to carry over into September a little bit. And what I mean by that is if I flip back to August, we're looking to budget here everything in gray. But my next payday is going to be September, let's take a look, September 5th. So I need to see if there's anything leading up to the 5th. And I haven't set this up yet because I've been wanting to do it with you guys and haven't had a chance to get this video done. So I thought we'd do that today. And then depending on how long that takes, we may or may not just go ahead and jump into the actual budget with me either at the end of this video or in a separate one. We'll just see what the time looks like. But let's go ahead and get started. So this is my September calendar. If you're new to my channel, I do set up a budget planner every year, usually for me in October, because when I started this, I started with the Budget Mom workbook, and she always released her book in October, and I got impatient to wait all the way until January. And so it just seems my budget binder always resets in October. So this year though, I use a big happy planner. So I normally purchase a big size happy planner, pull the planner guts, use the monthly pages and the cover, and make my binder out of that. But this year, I actually couldn't find a happy planner that I liked, so I have just been either making or finding binder covers on Etsy. I do use the Happy Planner expander discs, and I use the printable Budget Mom workbook. So still use the Budget Mom, I just use the printable version now. So this year has been a lot of fun because I've been creating my own monthly calendar, so I get to create kind of the divider page, if you will, and then I created the monthly spread for what I need. And I like a Sunday start, which is also really nice because you can customize, and I know some people like a Monday start, or maybe even a Tuesday start, so that's kind of a perk of making your own. But let's go ahead and jump on in. I do use the Budget Mom highlighter method. So I start with a blank monthly spread. I went ahead and stickered my dates and my paydays already to save us a little bit of time because that piece is always so tedious. And we're just going to start writing in all of our monthly fixed expenses. So basically I'm just going to go the entire month and write what's due on the day that it's due. So let's go ahead and start here on the 1st. I'm trying to think, just so I'm not twisting you guys around too much, I am going to go ahead, I think, and just pull this. Another one of the many reasons, I don't know why I did it that way, you guys. Another one of the many reasons why I like the disc system, because I can just pull things off and work from there. So let's just go ahead, and I'm going to start by just filling in this side of the month, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to kind of put you guys on a tilt. Hopefully that doesn't bother you too much, and I'll straighten you back up. All right, starting on the 1st, we've got Home Depot. This is an open account, though we don't owe any money there, and that'll make more sense here in just a bit when we start actually highlighting things. And I'm just going to go day by day here and fill in what I need for each of these days. So like on the 9th, we pay our Starlink bill, so I go ahead and write that in on the 9th. Okay, and then we're going to jump down here to the 14th. I usually have quite a few on the 14th that are due, including our water bill. We've got a Kindle Unlimited subscription. Oh, come on, pen, don't be a pain. My handwriting is already starting off rough here. Okay. And then moving on, we've got car insurance on the 15th, and we also have our Apple Music subscription. The 16th, We've got a few things here. So you'll just take your monthly calendar and start filling in all your bills. Other people like to add, expenses that might cost you money, like holidays, birthdays, that sort of thing. Oh no, you guys, I messed up. Let me grab my whiteout. Okay, let's white this out here. Got distracted looking at something else, I guess. We'll just hang on to that. Feels like that kind of day. Okay, the 21st. I hate when I have to white out because then when I highlight, it's kind of funky, but I don't know, you guys, sometimes I'm just too cuckoo about certain things, I guess, which is just silly. Okay, now over here on the 22nd is where I wanted to put that city card. Okay, and then we have another Kindle Unlimited. I believe this one's the kiddos, so I definitely keep her stuff separate from mine and my husband's. She definitely doesn't need to be perusing the books her mom reads, you know what I mean? I guess if you know, you know. All right, this one's an interesting one. On the 29th, I make the braces payment for my oldest daughter, but this comes out of my HSA, but I keep it on here, basically just in case, more so I can track it, make sure that there's money in the HSA. I mean, there is, but I just wouldn't want to get in a position where there's not and that payment doesn't go through or something. Plus, it kind of reminds me to follow up with them on what my balance and stuff is. So I like to have that in there, even though I'm not paying it out of this budget. It comes out of the HSA, like I said. So, okay. I think we've got everything for these dates. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over to the other side, and you can see we're paid bi-weekly. That's the other thing. If you're new here, my husband and I both work full-time in healthcare. We're both paid bi-weekly on the same day. I can see some light coming in through my blinds, guys. Sorry. Oh boy. All right, let's just keep filling all these in. So the 3rd, we've got a few things, and we're gonna start highlighting these in here pretty soon. I have a lot of expenses, you guys are probably noticing. So I split my mortgage payment up into 2, half each payday. So I'm gonna go ahead and note that for both of these days here. And then start adding in anything additional. There's a lot on the 5th here. I'm probably not gonna fit it all on here, to be honest. Okay, the other 2 are like paid off accounts. I guess I could squeeze them in like this. All right, we'll do that. Just so I always reference the month before to fill out my current month, so I don't want to leave them off and then like continue to kind of forget them, if that makes sense. So I'll just throw them in there. It's not going to look the prettiest, but it is what it is. Okay, so we've been working on our debt-free journey for a while, right? You guys have heard me say that a lot. And so some of the accounts that we have paid off, like this personal loan debt snowball, I have left that payment, so to speak, in my budget, and I roll that payment into the current debt snowball. So I still put those on there. So that's what some of those are that you're seeing. Okay. Let's see, we've got a Netflix subscription here. And I've changed the way I've started highlighting some of this stuff just to make it kind of easier for me to follow. Let me finish getting these all filled out. And as we go through the highlighting, some of this will start to make a little bit more sense, hopefully. All right, you guys, almost there. We got Disney Plus, couple more accounts. I'm actually going to leave one credit card off. It was a bank credit card, and I haven't used it in 2+ years. So when I got a thing from my bank saying my card was going to expire, it also said we're not going to renew it. And I was like, that's perfectly fine. Because eventually that's typically how credit cards will work. If you're not utilizing them after a certain period of time, a lot of them will just automatically kind of close your accounts. All right, let me move this to the side just for a minute. Okay, I hate the way my handwriting looks on this one, but it just is what it is. Okay, so we've got all the bills filled in. That's step number 1 for me. And then over here to the side, I'm gonna go ahead and indicate the paydays here plus the previous one from July. So that's going to be, September, August, you guys. Why am I thinking July? August 22nd is going to be the payday. So I'm gonna kind of make myself a little key over here, if you will. Okay, so we need the August 22nd payday, and that'll make sense here in a minute. And then we've got September 5th. I cannot believe we're talking about September. And then we've got September 19th. Okay, so those are the 3 paydays we're gonna be kind of working with. And the other thing I like to do over here on the side is kind of highlight what my current debt snowball is, what my current savings goal is, that sort of thing. So we've got our key. We're basically ready to kind of go through and do our highlighter method and kind of decorate our spread, if you will. So for our last August paycheck, that's this one. Its color is gray. So I'm gonna go ahead and highlight this in gray. And then I know everything highlighted in gray on this spread goes to this payday, if that makes sense. So, okay. Now you're gonna see me not highlight some things. For example, the Home Depot, like I said, this is an open credit card account that we have, but we don't owe any money on it, so I don't need to make a payment. But because it's an open account, I always like to check on it once a month, make sure everything looks good, something funky didn't happen, that sort of thing. But I don't need to make a payment, so I'm not gonna highlight it, but it is going to be there. We do have to pay our internet with this paycheck. And so I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that. Same thing for these 2 accounts, both paid off. We're not gonna worry about those. Okay, so next I'm going to pick, I'm gonna pick a color for the 9/5. So let's do this pink color here. For everything we need to pay on 9/5. Ooh, that is highlighter pink, isn't it? And then we'll do this one for 9/19. I'm not sure if all those colors go together, but we're stuck with them now, aren't we? Okay, so now for 9/5, we pick this color. So I'm gonna go ahead and highlight everything I know I need to pay on 9/5. I for sure have to pay this half of the mortgage, and then I'm gonna pause there. I kind of have to walk the budget out. So I'm gonna bring out my calculator and I'll show you what I mean by walk the budget out. I don't like to have a, let me see, let me get organized really quick and then I'll get back to talking to you guys. All right, let's pull up August here, okay? I don't like to have a payday where I'm paying a lot in bills and I have no money for savings, variable expenses. And then I have the next payday where I have very small amount of bills. I like to balance mine very evenly. And so oftentimes that means I'm paying things ahead into the next payday so that I'm more balanced. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if I start here on the 22nd, the payday we're working on, and I start grabbing all these things in gray that are highlighted, like my half mortgage, we've got a debt snowball payment here, a subscription, another subscription, lots of subscriptions, you guys. So I'm basically just kind of adding all of this up, right? And then if I go into September, I just have the highlighted internet, right? That puts my fixed expenses at $1,929, and I know that is a very small chunk of my fixed expenses, and I am going to be heavily misbalanced. So let's take this number, for example, $1,929, okay? Then let's jump into September, and I'm gonna walk out what I might highlight for September 5th's payday, right? Okay, so I'm gonna have to cover it so you guys can see the calculator and whatnot, but we'll just kind of move around it. So I'm gonna start here. Okay, I've got half my mortgage, got my big old whopping truck payment, I've got a subscription there, right? I'm 3 bills in and I'm already higher than the entire paycheck for this time. I already know that this is going to be crazy misbalanced, right? So then I'm gonna keep going. I've got my gas bill, which I think is about $58. I have to double check. We've got Starlink. My electric bill came in at a whopping almost $400. I think it's $390. Now I am going to take some money from my sinking fund to offset that, but still, I'm gonna go ahead and pop that in. We've got this debt snowball. We've got this payment. We've got our water bill, Kendall, all the things, right? My insurance, which I can't seem to remember the new amount. Apple Music, Xbox. You guys, look, I'm $2,000 more in expenses for September 5th than I am for August 22nd. So that is just not gonna work for my budget. I would have like $1,000 to stuff all my envelopes, and that's not even enough to cover my envelopes for 2 weeks for our household. And it would be absolutely $0 for savings. So that's what I mean by I have to look ahead so I can balance my paychecks better. Because if I just said, oh, hey, lucky me, my expenses are so low, without kind of looking ahead into September, and then I walk into September 5th's payday, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be in big trouble, right? So that's what I mean by kind of looking ahead and walking it out. So I already know to offset that, I am actually going to make my truck payment with the August 22nd paycheck, not the September 5th paycheck. And that's gonna balance me significantly more. So let's go ahead. I know the rest I'm going to have to pay with this paycheck. So this is a subscription that's gonna come out there. We're gonna go ahead and do that one. Electric bill, that. All right, and we've got that. And then if we come over here, we're gonna pay our gas bill, Starlink, water, Kindle, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And then these ones that you're seeing I didn't highlight, again, are paid off accounts, right? Okay, now let's take a look at August 22nd. So I'm gonna bring us back to this one. And let's see what we're looking at now that we've gone into September. And you'll see what I mean by these being significantly more balanced out, right? So 70 and then 1013. So now paying my truck payment with this paycheck instead of September 5th bumps me up to $29.42. Much more balanced, right? Okay, and then if instead of $3,900 for September 5th, now I'm looking at, let's see, just kind of going quick. We got the gas. Oh, I messed up, guys. Give me a second here. We've got our gas bill, Starlink, our electric bill at $380, but it's not going to be that much because I'm going to pull, like I said, from my sinking funds. I'm going to guesstimate about $200 for my water bill. That's roughly what it's been sitting at. It could be a little bit higher. And then I'm at $2,970 now versus $3,900. So shuffling that payment early has significantly balanced out my paydays. I know I'm going to be able to cover my fixed expenses for both paychecks just fine, and my variable envelopes, and hopefully have something to put towards our savings and debt goals as well. So that's why I like to look ahead. Hopefully that makes sense. And I would definitely encourage you all to kind of start that as well if you're not. Kind of just, the more and more you do this, right, you know roughly what your total monthly fixed expenses are. And so if you kind of chunk them out into two evenly, you know you're going to be pretty okay. All right, we need to highlight for our September 19th paycheck. So let's go ahead and kind of walk that out on the calculator and see if there's anything. Again, now we need to balance these two a little bit, right? So we'll want to see if there's anything in here that maybe needs to be paid early or whatnot. So let's go ahead and add up the 19th here. Okay, so many of these subscriptions have like changed. I feel like I can't like remember the amount of all my bills all of a sudden. Okay, let's see. Okay, so then the next thing is I kind of need to walk myself all the way up to the next paycheck, right, into October even, because this ends on the 30th, so it's going to be the 1st, the 2nd, and then I'm going to get paid October 3rd, it looks like. So is there anything on the 1st and 2nd that I need to take care of? And it looks like there's not, right? So I'm at $26.18 for this paycheck on September 19th, which is perfectly fine. So I don't need to pay anything early for this paycheck on the 5th. I will likely have to pay maybe something a little bit early here, but I also know October is going to be a magic month for us. And so that's setting us up pretty nicely. All right, let's go ahead and highlight everything here now for the payday on the 18th. Just as we did all the others. And again, I'm just highlighting the active accounts. All right, Subaru. Ew, I hate the way that feels, highlighting over the whiteout, you guys. Ew, it just creeps me out. Okay, braces. I'm going to highlight it. Cell phones. Okay. So again, everything not highlighted, there's no payments due there, you guys, they're just there. All right, the next thing I like to do, because I have quite a few debt snowballs in here, is I like to kind of put a sticker by them or something along those lines. So if we look at August, I've got these little like piggy bank stickers by all the debt snowball payments. And I like to do that because it tells me, yes, this is in your budget spread, it's highlighted, but if for some reason the income comes in short because we are paid hourly, right? Or I don't know, it could just be anything. If for some reason the budget doesn't allow us to cover that debt snowball, I can easily identify that there's no actual payment here. And if I can't make it work in the paycheck, that's fine. No, don't panic, right? Okay, so let me find something that we want to use for those. Okay, guys, I got this little Agenda 52 budget sticker book on clearance from Hobby Lobby for $2. We've got more of these little piggies in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab these guys out, and we'll use a few of these. I want to say there are maybe 4 or 5. Let's start with 4 and go from there. Okay, so our first one is going to be this personal loan debt snowball we talked about. And then we've got this City 2 card we've paid off this year. We have got our Discover card here. We've got this City 1 card we've paid off this year, and we do need one more, friends. So let me grab that. Maybe. Okay, and then last is our oven debt snowballs that we paid off way back in early 2024, I believe. Okay, awesome. I'm feeling pretty good. We've got a pretty good setup going so far. So the next thing I'll do is go ahead and kind of decorate out my spread. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll bring you back and show you what that looks like. All right, friends, bringing you back in. A long time for me, a quick little edit for you, but here we have September's monthly budget spread all completely done. So we've listed out all of our bills on the day that they're due. We went through and highlighted everything and color coded it by payday. So when we're ready to start budgeting in September, it's really easy to see what bills go with what paycheck. If you're wondering, I get a lot of questions about the sticker books. These were the two that I used this time. So I have this Budget Babe by Live Love Posh, and that's where these kind of like budgeting, I just thought these were so cute, like the floral, and then like you've got kind of like things you pay bills for, right? Like Wi-Fi and cars and whatnot. And then September brings in fall. I am so excited for fall this year, you guys. I have always been a summer lover. Like I've always said, summer is my favorite season, but the older I get, I'm actually more of a fall person, but I do love like what summer brings as far as summer break for the kids and stuff like that. So I still love summer, not so much like the weather and climate of summer. I'm more of a fall person in that aspect, but anywho, I'm rambling on and on. For the cute little purple pumpkins in here, I brought in Planny Thing Pumpkin Vibes. I've had this one for quite a while. I'm not sure if that's still available. This one I got last Christmas as a Christmas gift from my mom. So those are the things I decorated with. I told you I like to put these two boxes to the side so I can put the debt that we're focusing on, which on September should still be our Wells Fargo. And then for savings, we are still working likely on that tire savings. So those are my two goals. I just like to have them front and center, but there we go, you guys. We are ready for September, and probably won't be long until we're planning out October's budget, which is just cuckoo. All right, so let's go ahead and flip back on over to August, because we do need to budget this August 22nd paycheck together. So let's go ahead and do that. Basically, we are going to go ahead and budget everything that is highlighted in gray, and that is what we are going to be paying. So let's flip to our August paycheck budget tracker. Again, for the budgeting piece, I use the printable Budget Mom workbook, and this is the like OG one, you guys. I have yet to find a need to purchase the new one, but maybe in the future. So if you look over here, I also, at the beginning of every year, I don't budget from the 1st to the 31st. That doesn't work for me because I'm paid biweekly. I'm not paid monthly. So I like to kind of set what paychecks are going to be quote unquote my monthly budget. So everything for August for me, what I'm going to count in my August budget as far as debt payments, savings, all of that stuff is going to cover everything from July 25th all the way up to September 4th, because I'm going to budget these. I've said these 3 paychecks are my August budget. So it's not like a magic month. I'm just lumping those paychecks into August. That way, because when I try to do like a monthly review, it just never works out if I try it that way. So this will be our last August paycheck. Let's go ahead. I've jumped us ahead because I know this is likely a longer video since we're combining a few. I've already filled in our pay 1 and pay 2. Like I said, my husband and I both work full-time in healthcare. We are a family of 6, but a household of 5, but we still do cover 6 of us in some of our bills. So let's go ahead and income 1 came in at $29.21 and 87 cents. Income 2 came in at $19.65 and 74 cents, giving us a income of $4,807.61 to work on. We are going to drop the cents, so we're just going to budget out $4,887, you guys. These cents will just sit in there as a buffer. Okay, like I said, I've already listed everything out that was highlighted in gray just to give us a start. So we have our half mortgage at $1,143. We have a debt snowball here. And I've gotten the question before why I put my snowballs here and not in this extra debt section. And for me, it's just all mental, you guys. By the time I get here, I'm going through fixed expenses, variable expenses, sinking funds and savings, and then I get to extra debt. Now, I could jump here and then go up here, but for me, it's more of a mental game to still consider these as bills that I have. Because if I don't, I'm very likely to want to put money to other things, and I still want that money to go towards debt to help us get done that much faster, right? So this is just what works for me. It's not how you have to do it. You know, make it personal to your budget and even your mindset sometimes, guys. So City 1, that is a debt snowball payment of $150. So it's not actually going to go to this City 1. It's going to go to our current debt. We have a Kindle Unlimited subscription for $13. You'll see I put these A's next to anything that comes out automatically, which for me is always subscriptions and our car insurance. Everything else I pay on my own. We have iCloud for $11, Disney Plus for $22. We have another debt snowball for $125. Those were our ovens we paid off. We're going to pay our cell phone bill for $330. This covers 6 lines, unlimited everything, and we get free HBO Max with our plan. We are paying a cell phone off for my husband, so $65 to our Apple. This, you guys, is not, and it's not, I've had somebody like question if I don't pay it by a certain time, like all this interest is going to hit. This is not that type of charge, if you will. The way that if you finance a phone directly through Apple, it's just a monthly installment, and they break it up into, I think for cell phones, it's 24 even payments, and you can pay it off early if you want, but there's never any interest. There's no penalty if you don't pay it by a certain amount of time. Like, they break it up so you have it paid by a certain amount of time. Now, if you didn't pay your payment on your card or something, right, for the month, then yeah, you're going to get late fees and probably interest in that situation, but that won't be us. So that's how this works. I've had a few questions on that. We've got our internet at $70, and we're going to pay our truck payment at $10.13. So let's go ahead and add all of these fixed expenses up and see what that's going to look like. Hopefully that's going to match that kind of prep work that we did earlier. And it does. $29.29. That's a funny number, right? For our expenses, we're going to take that from the $4,887 in income we have, and that's going to leave us with $1,958 to bring down to our variable expenses. So I'm going to carry that down. My hand did not want to write that 8. Like, the brain to hand thing was not working. It's like kindergarten writing, you guys. All right. I have the same variable expenses all the time. We're going to go ahead and budget $340 for groceries. That small increase of $40 has really made a big difference. I was just consistently going over and over. So I bumped that up. We might be able to bump it down a little bit here now that the girls are back in school. You know, they get free lunch at school most days. Sometimes they want to pack, but we'll see. I'm going to keep it at $340 for now. We're going to put $200 to our Costco bill. I usually put $200 per paycheck, and then I do a monthly shop. So I usually have about $400 that I can put towards Costco. I don't lump it in with my groceries or my household. I keep it as a separate line item because I do want to monitor the kind of spending we do there, because it's very easy to get carried away at good old Costco. Even though I'm buying, you know, groceries and household expenses. So, okay. Gas for our vehicles, we're going to budget $150, $40 for miscellaneous things that might come up, $60 into house and beauty. We're going to do $100 for takeout. You guys, $100 gets us like nowhere these days, if I'm being honest, but I'm trying not to do takeout too much. Sometimes we're really good and sometimes we're terrible. Okay, water at $42. That's for drinking water. We're going to put $50 towards pets for like pet food, grooming. And then we're going to put $360 towards our spending. And that should give us a total of $13.40 $13.40, I believe, in our variable expenses. Let's just do a quick double check. This doesn't usually change for us. $13.42. Okay, $13.42. And I'm going to take that from the $19.58. That's going to leave us $616 to bring up to our savings section. Mine says sinking funds, but I just lump everything in here. So we like to put 33 towards our month ahead and 64 towards our emergency fund. 100 goes towards Christmas. Those are kind of the musts on savings. So let's just take 616 minus these amounts, 33, 64, and 100. That's going to give us 419. I'm going to go ahead and put 219 towards the savings challenges, and then we'll put 200 towards our debt binder. I am going to pull in some YouTube income that I just received this week so that we have our normal 300 for our debt binder stuffing, because there are some things we're really close on there that I really want to get done. All right, that should give us 616. Let's do a quick double check. And it does, which is going to bring us to a zero-based budget. And so that is what we want. We want every one of our dollars to have a job. We're not saying we're spending every one of our dollars. We're giving it a job. Some of it's spending, some of it's savings. So, all right, friends, that is how I like to use the highlighter method, setting up the month. And we went ahead and set up our August 22nd paycheck together. So my next steps are to go ahead and usually on the payday, I go ahead and take care of all the bills that aren't on auto pay and get those done and over. I'm going to cash stuff my variable expenses, and I'm going to go ahead and set myself up for my savings, and then we'll start jumping into some savings videos here this weekend, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. By the time I get this edited, I'm sure it's going to be kind of long. Let me know if you have any questions, comments down below. I appreciate you guys being here, all your support. If you like this one, give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button to stick around, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.